Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the CryptoHarlem live stream. It is Monday, July 3rd, 2023. Um, and yeah, it is the day before the 4th of July, which is a big holiday here in the States. Um, and I thought I'd talk about a new guide that we're creating, which is going to be coming out soon. It's really just a remix of one of our resources. If you go to the website, cryptoharlem.com/resources, we have like an activism guide. It's in Ukrainian and English and Russian, and soon we will have the French version of the guide. And we're going to talk about why the French translation is, which has been in demand, so we're going to provide it, why that's going on right now. We're also going to talk about some Russian surveillance news, and then we'll just see how much time we have. So we'll take it like that. So yeah, we're here. I'm gonna cue up some music. Last time I was listening to some music, it was like trying to find these. It was cool because we could type a genre in, and then find some cleared samples to play. Because we can't be playing the latest popping music from the streets because that will get us a notice. You know what I'm saying? From like copyright infringement, blah 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 blah. So but yeah, let's see. This was Sliptop Stream, I think, or Premium Beats. I forgot where I think it was Sliptop Stream that I got it from. So yeah, if you want to hear a genre, let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna pick a genre. They got ambient, cinematic, they got hip hop, funk and soul. They've got holiday. I don't know what that is. R&B, pop, Latin, reggae, all kinds of stuff. I think I'll pick a cleared sample hip hop artist to rock it with today. I don't know, but I prefer no vocals, so I'm gonna go for an instrumental. If that's okay. Let's see what's coming out here. The song starts so quiet, can't even hear it. I'm gonna move forward. Takes so long to get cooking. Let's see this one. Okay, you have some trap music. Who doesn't mind a trap background? I don't. We cook it up too, but instead of a kitchen, we cook it up in a cyber lab. Cook it up on a laptop. It's a little too cinematic though. This is trap and chiptune. How do you combine those genres? Ooh, I do not like it. Who would have thought? Serious and scary? Let's try that. Yeah, okay. Serious and scary trap music. Sure. This is from an artist named Two Plan. An actually song named Two Plan by Normatic Music, which makes a lot of these generic tracks. Sounds like a group of artists or one producer that does like across genre stuff. So yeah, let me, without further ado, get this Two Plan popping. Oh man. But hey, how y'all doing out there? What's going on with you? What are you listening to? Do you have plans for this 4th of July? Let us know, because we care. Let me put on this song again, Two Plan. Drill. Yo, you want to hear that drill? Let's see if they have drill. You know what I'm saying? It's your birthday, so we made you this Drillagram. You ever see that on YouTube? Yo, Mr. Links, you ever see that one? It's hilarious. You're just Dancer Burrito's trying to stay cool. Yo, but it's hot. It's hot outside. You know what I'm saying? I can't look up drill on these genres. I checked. Maybe I can actually. Maybe I'm lying. Let me check real quick. Because I just realized that hip hop has subcategories. Oh, is it? Oh, they got drill. It's there. Oh, from Chicago. Okay. Um, Now I'm just gonna pick a drill instrumental. This one, the waveform looks ridiculous. Oh yeah, we're using this one. This is called Madden by Overrule, and it's a drill track. And we'll put it on because it's less hypnotic. But this is just the background when I'm talking, so I don't really mind if it moves too much. But you know what? You asked for it, so you got it. We're here for the people. Cybersecurity for the people, and background tracks for the people, apparently. So yeah, let's make it happen. I'm gonna go and put this drill on. All right. All right, here we go. Let it not be say we don't. This is your stream. You know what I'm saying? Ooh, you hear that? It does this for a bunch, and then it just goes. The waveform just goes. I don't know what happens, but the beat drops must be ridiculous. Mr. Links wanted drill, so drill is what we're serving. Okay. So yeah, let me show you something real quick. Ooh. Well, it's getting like sinister. I'm into the horror movie now. That's it. Oh, but right there. Oh, reggae, drum and bass, and drill. You're getting drill. Okay. So, for those of you who are your first time hanging out with us, we are CryptoHarlem. We're cybersecurity for the people. We talk about anti-surveillance movements. We talk about cybersecurity education. We talk about advocacy. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to do a couple different things. Basically, we believe that, and the facts and the science and everything shows us that technology is amazing. We love technology. We're technologists, but it's got a good and bad side. Black Mirror, all that stuff. And the bad side of it doesn't hurt everyone the same. It's definitely harmful, but it definitely, the brunt of it, the majority of it is impacted. It's impacting marginalized communities, and so what we do is we teach you how to use tech and to protect yourselves from those aggressive harms. And if you're not from a marginalized community, if your identity isn't criminalized, if you're not living on the intersections, you can be an awesome ally, because there's not enough. There's not enough. And we got every marginalized person know this stuff. It's not enough to push back against the dangers. So, learn how to protect yourself, learn how to protect your loved ones, learn how to protect your family, and then share the knowledge that you get from this pretty wild hacker-led pirate radio movement, and spread it. You know what I'm saying? Spread it like almond butter. You know what I'm saying? On a high protein cracker. All right. So on our website, we have these resources. It's like the second link in. And the website is CryptoHarlem.com, in case you didn't know, okay? So when you go to CryptoHarlem.com, I'll just put that on the screen. Boom. When you go there and you click on resources, we have a bunch of guides. And we take a lot of the information from our live stream, a lot of information from our meetings, a lot of information from our trainings, and we just try to pack them into guides. And they cover everything. So, like how to get a job in cyber, to how to be invisible on the internet. And one of those guides is this cybersecurity is activism guide. And that guide, we're going to make a French version of it because France is hot right now, and people really need this guide. They've been asking for it, so we decided to get this translation out. And special props to the hackers who are working on that. And I'll ask them if they want to be named, but they're French speakers and they're working on it right now, so we can have this out for you soon. So yeah, hopefully by this time next week we have this guide ready and we can get it. Our folks in different parts of France can circulate it. But we ask you when we have a tweet when it's done, look out for that, and we'll tell you about it. Circulate it. Join our Discord, which is if Discord's like a social platform. So if you go to discord.com/invite/CryptoHarlem, that's easy right there. That's how you do it. That's our server. You know what I'm saying? So share it with your friends. And you can look out there if you ever want to keep in contact with us between our streams, which are Monday and Friday at 1 o'clock. This is how you do it. Okay? So let's take a look at this guide, what it tells you to do, why it tells you to do it. And then we'll talk about the situation going on in France. Okay? Now, when you click on this guide to download in the language that you want, you'll see something that looks like this. And this is the zoomed in version of the guide here on one of our favorite encrypted file store websites. This one's called Tresseret. And it says, Signal lets us use end-to-end encryption to secure our messages and calls. Video calls up to 40 people. That's actually been upgraded. So I think like the Signal video calls is it's like some ridiculous limit now. At the time when this was written, let me see if it's still, is it up to 40? Maybe it is up to 40. Maybe it is up to 40. 40 was 2021. I know they made some changes, but we'll just leave it like that because on the official page, that's what they say. So that's a lot of people, okay? And it's all end-to-end encrypted and it's beautiful. And it does a lot of different things. So usually we teach mastery instead of multitude. So just one tool and a million things you can do on that tool instead of just jumping and doing like a lot of different tools. And when we talk about Russia in the later part of the segment, we'll talk about some more settings in Signal that you probably don't use. One of my favorite Signal settings is blur faces. So when you put a picture into Signal, you can edit the picture and then you can blur people's faces. So if you've never blurred a face on Signal, definitely do it. It's fun. Just check it out. And another feature that's a technical feature that most people don't use is when you're writing someone and it asks you to write their number, just type in note to self. Because, check out that feature, little known Signal features, you know what I'm saying? Like, write a note to this phone number, note to self. And that is actually yourself, And when you do that, open up Signal, you just type it in, and you can write an encrypted message to yourself. So if you have any kind of video or gallery picture or photograph or anything like that, and you want to have an encrypted version of it, that's the way to do it. And then you can delete it from your regular gallery, and you know what I'm saying? You're good to go. Cool beans, So check that out. Now another thing that the guide has in it is to use wire if you need a little more privacy, because Signal does expose your phone number. They're working on that. That will be changed, but for right now, just in case you want to be in a group and you don't want people to see your numbers, maybe you make a wire group instead. The guide also says that, if you're out, turn off face and finger unlock, because, someone could just point your phone at your face or grab your hand and put it on your phone and it unlocks. So there's no need to do that. You can turn that off. Don't use those biometric unlocks. If you're on the streets, if you're protesting, if you're walking around, you're outside of home, maybe you don't use the biometric unlock for a lot of different reasons. Make sure that if you do use Google Maps, or if you have an Android phone, that you check out myactivity.google.com and you erase your activity. Or if you go to like maps.google.com/location history as one word, and just erase your location, that's what you got to do. So if you go to maps.google.com/location history, it'll show you everywhere you've ever been, or it'll show you nothing. Depends on how that feature is set up on your phone. Remember to turn off your phone. And if you use malware on your phone, if there's some kind of like spyware on your phone, a lot of that stuff can't survive a reboot. So all you got to do is, like, when you go to sleep and you go plug your phone in the charger, turn it off, and then turn it back on again. And that actually shakes up a lot of different spyware. And then if you really need to kill it with fire, you can do a factory reset where you'll just erase everything else on the phone, and it'll restore backups from, if you have cloud backups or local backups. That's another thing that really much kills the malware on the device. So a lot of people don't realize that. So just a simple reboot shakes off a lot of spyware and malware, and a factory reset really doesn't. Now, if you have like an app on your phone that is the problem, well then that's, that's actually going to be persistent and it's going to live on. Okay. Now let's go with the other stuff that's in this guide. If you're going to use Zoom, turn on end-to-end encryption on Zoom. Some people need bigger, Signal supports 40 people on a video call, but if your squad is 80 people, maybe you're using something like Zoom, make sure you're turning on the end-to-end encryption option. And for everything, all your emails, all your social media, check out this website, 2fa.directory, and this is a clickable link. And 2fa.directory is like a search engine for, two-factor. If you were to go on a 2fa.directory and you were to type like Instagram, it just takes you to the Instagram directions on how to set up two-factor. So it's pretty cool, that it does that for you. Ooh. Let's go. Let me see if I can get this thing to work. Come on. Come on, 2fa.directory, don't fail me. How many times is this site gonna die? Yeah. Yeah, this site is not looking good. Let me go to the GitHub. Alright. I'll just move on to the next thing. So the next thing that we talk about. Oh man, I'm really choking. Wow. Okay. So let me go on to the next thing that we talk about. But I decided I wanted to show you some of the stuff as we talk about it. So let me just show you. This is the signal.org website for people who aren't familiar. Signal is an app that lets you send messages to your friends, have conversations with them, video, etc. And it's all end-to-end encrypted, meaning the message is encrypted on all platforms. It's encrypted, so whether you're on an iPhone or an Android, your carrier cannot see your message, they cannot see your files, they cannot see your video. Now we're going to get into this when we talk about the stuff going on in Russia a little bit later. But there's some data that's leaked, but there's ways you can lock that down. So stay on and listen to us as we get into that a little bit later, okay? And we are talking about the guide for activists, the one we're translating into French. That is the Crypto Harlem guide, and it's on CryptoHarlem.com under resources. And the next thing that we talk about is Bridgify, and Bridgify is interesting. So Bridgify is an app that you should install right now. Go ahead and install Bridgify right now. Their website is Bridgify Me. Let me just share that. And the reason why you want to install it now is because it's to be used when your phone has no cell service. It's to be used when your phone has no data. It actually uses Bluetooth so you can communicate with an encrypted messaging to people within Bluetooth range, and it will create a mesh network, meaning it'll keep the messages traveling as far as there's a Bluetooth to bounce to deliver to the right person. So if you have 1,000 people in a room and one of them is way out on the other side of the room, like way outside of like Bluetooth 5 range, long as there's another Bluetooth signal that person also has Bridgify installed, it'll keep bouncing the signal until it gets all the way over there. Now, a lot of people don't realize this, but Bluetooth range is really far, It's like hundreds and hundreds of feet, So, like, in the real world, it's a little bit different because there's interference, right? But if you have no cell signal and there's no data, maybe things are wiped out, maybe there's a blackout, maybe there's some kind of thing going on. Then it actually has a better chance of actually hitting its on paper range, And Bluetooth 5, which is on most devices, it carries like the option to do this thing called Bluetooth 5 low energy, right? Which seems like that's what I am right now. I'm not low energy though. I swear, y'all. I swear. I'm amped. I'm focused. I'm dialed in. And they have Bluetooth 5 also has a protocol low energy long range, where it'll cap the data, and it'll change the frequency so it even goes like super further. You know what I'm saying? Which is pretty wild. Like it's the range of it is already pretty far, and to get a longer range is just amazing. So it really gives you like that kind of like Wi-Fi type range. So again, Bridgify is the app. Make sure like I put that up on the screen. Boom. Yeah, so definitely peep that, okay? Yo. So you install Bridgify, your friend has Bridgify, you can talk to each other even though there might be an internet blackout. And during a lot of protests, there are devices that are used to like lessen the amount of cell data or intercept cell data. And that's why Bridgify is definitely a good bet, And we would recommend it. Let's see what else is in the guide, okay? The last one is to protect your face and your tattoos from computer recognition. There's facial recognition, object recognition, there's tattoo recognition. And again, use that blur feature and get all the stuff covered up and you'll be good to go, okay? And that's the guide, Now, why is it so important, right? Like, what's going on right now in France? Well, we're going to talk about that, and there's this visual timeline that I really like in the New York Times, so I'm just going to share that. And it kind of talks about why we got to this place. Okay? So last Tuesday, there was a police stop in this French suburb that's like 15 minutes outside of Paris that I'm not gonna try to pronounce, but I have like I super co-host, co-lead. We asked them, Sarah, how to pronounce it, because Sarah speaks mad languages, including French. So Nortier, Nabonu de Paris. Okay, which is okay. Well, there we go. Nortier. Um, and so yeah, there was like a roadblock, like a police stop, looking for unlicensed drivers, and there's a 17-year-old named Nahel, and Nahel had pulled over his car and started talking to the police. The police were like stuck their guns out. They had their guns out. That's the first thing. They had their guns out. They stuck their heads into the window and started talking to the driver. Now, the police report initially said that the driver tried to run into the police, and the police were forced to shoot the driver to save themselves because the driver turned on the police, was going to drive into the police. Unfortunately, like that turned out to be cap. You know what I'm saying? It was straight up lies. And that's what kind of kicked this off. When the police said that it's a tragedy, the driver, it kind of mirrors George Floyd, where the police say something happened, but then because of phone evidence, we find that it's completely not what they said happened. So, and a lot of times when you're reading about the protest, it doesn't talk about that. The initial police reports that were sent out to the media said that the police were under threat of being driven over by a car. And then this mobile phone video went viral, and it started spreading all around this Paris suburb, you know what I'm saying, and France. And people could see that's obviously not the case. The car starts driving away, and there's no threat to the police. The police officer just shoots the driver, shoots into the car before the car finishes riding away. And then later on, the car smashes into a pole because the driver is bleeding and wounded at the scene and dies at the scene of the stop. So this is the timeline. I'll put the timeline link in the chat right here. Oop. And so June 27th, French police officer shot unarmed teenager, 17-year-old. French media citing anonymous police sources initially reported that the teenager was driving a yellow Mercedes and plowed into the police, leading one of them to shoot him. But videos surfaced on Twitter that contradicts the police, and that in the video it shows that they were stopped by the police, and one of them already had a gun drawn, and the teen tries to drive away, and then you hear a loud bang, and it's really like point blank range. Like the car, the gun is aimed right through the window at the driver before he even drives off. The police officer who fired the shot is at this point arrested, and violent clashes start immediately, basically. And they say that Nael Merzouk is this is what happens to us. We get treated differently. And a lot of black and Arab youth are involved in this. And if you see any of the footage, there's some of it here. I'm not going to show the footage of the shooting because, as we know, that's traumatic, and you shouldn't watch that footage of a police shooting. It's very bad for you. It's very bad for your psyche, and it desensitizes you as well. So, but we will show you the protest, and some of the footage I saw of the protest were just a lot of these fireworks. It was just like, it looked like Star Wars. It was wild. It was police throwing these tear gas and flare grenades, and protesters shooting fireworks. Yeah, it was pretty wild. Now, by Thursday, that was Wednesday, right? Because the stop happened on Tuesday. The prosecutor's office said the officer has no legal grounds for opening fire, and they decided that they're going to charge him involuntary homicide. Um, you know, but it didn't really affect the demonstrations. See, so even though local law said we're going to arrest the police officer, there was tons of people out here. You know, many of them dressed in black hoodies, covering their faces. Some of them documenting stuff. There's a lot of media here. You'll see reporting. And eventually, the police just used tear gas at Nelson Mandela Square in this suburb. It's a working class suburb. This guy's mom is working class. The police make a statement that say that, hey, listen, this guy's known for driving away from sites, and even though his family and their lawyer say that he's never been arrested in a criminal history, again, that contention doesn't help. And by this point, there's a lot more damage. This is a parking lot of a grocery store, and this is also on Thursday, and you can see like just melted cars from a fire that started. Now there's a huge vigil, and this vigil goes through the town, and there's a memorial march, and it's a peaceful march talking about him and what happened. And his mom is on a flatbed truck here, leading this procession, and she held up a red flare as crowds chanted her child's name, which is really powerful and sad. And let me see if I could find that image. No, doesn't seem to come up. Let me try one more thing. Here is his mom, but it's not her holding the flare. This picture was taken by Elaine Jacquard for Agency French Press, and yeah, I'll show you. And this is Niall's mom on the top of that car of the funeral procession vehicle, obviously, grief-stricken and outraged as the crowd screams her son's name. Okay, so let's go back to this timeline. And then by Friday morning, looting has started in Paris, right? Here's a Nike store in Paris. And again, this is mostly like on the outskirts, because this suburb is only 15 minutes away. I think 800 people, they say, were arrested in France, and by Friday night, this is last week Friday night, just like huge amounts of more people were arrested. And then the funeral happened at a mosque, again in his hometown, Bin Madis Mosque, and the police weren't really there, which is good, giving the family and the community time to grieve. Saturday night, additional protests, clashes between the protesters and the police, and in different parts of these Parisian suburbs, and more than 700 people were arrested overnight. 45 police injured. And then this is Sunday, where it just says, there's less protesters, there aren't people on the streets, and it just says revenge for Nael, vengeance for Nael, right? And yeah, that's where we are right now. And again, like, this has really like kind of rocked the nation of France. It's something that we see all too often, and so we want to make sure that now that this is over and people are planning, like, what do we do? How do we make our conditions better? And the outrage is kind of like stemmed. It's usually like in this organizing phase. There's a reaction, there's this negative action, there's a reaction from the community, from the family. Then there's a reaction from protesters and people on the ground. And then there's a phase of like organizing. And in that phase is when, we want to make people know that they need to be as safe as possible. And that's where the guide will come in. And so yeah, just wanted to share that with all of y'all. Okay? So happy 3rd of July. We are gonna switch it up a little bit, and we're gonna talk about a different story. This one is about surveillance and surveillance apparatus, commercial surveillance apparatus that popped up in Russia. And it's something that's been going on since before the war, before the conflict in Ukraine. But it's changed as, there's always been signal intelligence apparatus, there's always been digital surveillance in Russia. And it's just been like targeted against political rivals of Vladimir Putin, like Navalny. It's always been used to kind of like crush dissent. The gay rights movement in Russia has always been dealing with a lot of digital surveillance, but it wasn't something that was like just turned against any citizen. And that's what Russian folks are dealing with now, is like commercialized, professionalized tools built in-house in Russia being used against like any citizen in Russia. And that came out in a Times article, I think came out today. And it's called Cracking Down on Dissent. Let's see if I can find it. Russia seeds a surveillance supply chain. They even have some fancy art here. Now, it's an okay article. I think the article, when it talks about technical things, starts getting a little bit messy. I think they kind of make the power of the surveillance tool sound a little bit more like foreboding and dangerous, and it's not anything that's different from what we have in the United States or a lot of other countries have. It's interesting that like they're finally catching up to what a lot of like foreign powers or large countries they have available in-house, not like purchasing from someplace else. But yeah, I don't know. Like they talk about deep packet inspection with that in a way that makes it sound like a little confusing as to how this stuff works. So we wanted to make sure that we talked about that. And let me just share this article with you. And we'll change the track up, because we're changing the subject up, we're changing the track up. You know what I'm saying? This time we're gonna find. Maybe I'll try to find like a drum and bass track. This is Take It All In. Again, another Slipknot track. This one is from Happy, I think is the name of the artist. So there we go. And let me do a quick roll call. Thanks for rocking with us today. I know it's a lot of people on break today. If you're in the States, a lot of people have could be doing anything. So thanks for tuning in. Appreciate y'all, especially our moderators, the Draw Up Things and the Elixir. 0A times 2 or 0x2, a memory address. AOK, Alicidra, Another TV Viewer, Commander Root, Dance with Burritos, Drab Snack, Here Tishobes, J-Thing Pencer, Kata, Lurks, Sec Forwarder 002, Spoofo, and ZK. Get ready because we're going to learn about surveillance. We're going to learn about some methods you could use to fight surveillance and hide from surveillance. You know what I'm saying? And maybe this Happy Drum and Bass song is cool because we'll talk about the Russian surveillance apparatus that exists. We'll talk about the way that even tools that we might use every day, like Signal, how they can be used against us, and then ways to mitigate those uses. And then that'll probably take us into 2 o'clock, and then we'll wrap. Okay? So, what this article says, let's get to it. But let me actually give y'all a little bit of more of a share, okay? That was okay. So let's do it. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't act like who are we without y'all, the audience? You know what I'm saying? So thank you again, Lurks, Sec Forwarder, Spafo, ZK. Hey, hats off to you. Appreciate y'all so much. Kata, J-Thing Pencer, Hair T-Sheet Toes, Dancing with Burritos, Commander Root, Another TV Viewer, Alicidra, AOK, OX2, and O1Ella. Appreciate you. Okay, now let's go back to where we were. So if you want to see what this article looks like, I'll just throw it up on the screen right here. And it says, cracking down on dissent, Russia sees a surveillance supply chain. Russia is incubating a cottage industry of new digital surveillance tools to suppress domestic opposition to the war in Ukraine. The tech may also be sold overseas. And it has a really cool kind of Mid-Journey Weird 1000 style illustration by Mark Harris. That's cool, of Putin and a phone and some Russian language and arrows and stuff. I guess that's what hacking looks like to regular people. Look at a bunch of arrows. For some reason it says DPI, saying deep packet inspection. So, this thing in itself, I could break this thing down. This thing in itself deserves its own 20-minute breakdown right now, this graphic, but no time for that. Anyway, so basically it goes into the different companies that are using tools to track certain kinds of activity on encrypted apps like WhatsApp, Signal, and monitor the location of phones, identifying anonymous social media users and breaking into people's accounts according to documents, right? And it all sounds super scary. And, let's take it app by app. So there's a part here where they talk about Signal, and they say one program outlining the materials can identify when people make voice calls, send files on encrypted apps such as Telegram, Signal, and WhatsApp. And that sounds pretty scary, but basically, let me see if I can find. Now I'm going off script, and I'm gonna pay a price for this. I know I will, but let's see what happens. Maybe I could actually find this. I mean, I can't imagine this is gonna go well. I'm either gonna like, do I even look inside this thing? What's this? Oh, okay, yeah. Um, okay. So here. So let me just explain something. Let's see if I can explain this properly. This is like a deck that I made a little while ago. Um, all right, so Signal and all messaging apps. So um, they show the fact that you're using the app, and that can be found by anyone who has access to the network you're on. So obviously, Russian authorities have access to the network you're on because they own everything. You know, they're way up. So if you think about it, if you go higher, higher, and higher up, you're able to see more. Like if I live in your house, I can see the data that is in your router. But if I live in your building, I can see the data that's in everybody's routers. If I'm the ISP, I can see the data that's in everybody's buildings, and so on and so forth, right? So when you use Signal, you're gonna hit this network, which is run by Amazon. I did this a while. This was some research I did a while ago. So, but you'll hit an IP address, and this IP address, if you look it up, for example, if you run it through the AnyRun, which is a Russian threat intel website. Props to AnyRun. Every researcher has a friend. Back when I was using AnyRun, it was a lot easier to use, and it was also very free. But I guess it became super popular, so now everything involves pricing and trials, and there's a little bit less you can do, but let me just show you. This is AnyRun. And what you can do is you can take this service, you can run any IP address through it, and it helps you find like real-time interactions, does network tracking, it does process monitoring, it'll map things to the known attack vectors and the kill chain that's from, you know, the Mitri attack. Had some behavior stuff on here, you know, and it says like we're used by a bunch of people. Use this, like Telefonica, which is in Spain, T-Mobile, which is Deutsche Telekom, the Gap. Many people use AnyRun to, you know, for threat intel. So anyway, that's AnyRun. So back to my slides. When you use Signal, you'll get an IP address. You run the IP address that Signal is sending data to. Everyone who uses Signal, sending data to, right? And it'll link you to, you know, like this is, let me just show you. Let me try to take it down enough. I put this program on an Android phone, this packet capture program by Gray Shirts, and I really like it. It makes it easier to just look inside of packets, so you don't have to set up like a whole third-party lab setup. It's just really basic. The basic setup, something like a VPN on your machine, and all your data runs through it. And the app Signal was hitting this IP address, 52.200.195.241 on port 443, right? And when you, anyone who's hitting that IP address is using Signal. So I know you're using Signal because you're hitting that IP. Now imagine I have a new ISP we just opened yesterday, and we're called like, instead of T-Mobile, we'll call like C-Mobile, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so you go to C-Mobile, and you're the only one on C-Mobile using Signal. So you're the only one sending to that IP address. Now, if I have another person on C-Mobile who's using Signal who you're writing a message to, you're all interacting with that IP address at the same time. And if that's the only network in town, you're obviously talking to each other. Now, I cannot see your messages because they're end-to-end encrypted, but I know that you're probably the two people talking to each other. Does that make sense? Hope that breaks it down for you a little bit, right? So in AnyRun, if you put that IP address in, it tells you this is something that's used by techsecureservice.whispersystems.org, which is the Signal app name, and the Signal servers and Signal like network basically, right? And they flag it as malicious activity, and this original record, I think I made this record on September 20th, 2019. So I think that's like when it said that, because this was a mad long time ago. I know for a fact. You know what I'm saying? So, and it says, again, that anyone who basically runs the network knows that you're using the app. Now, once I know you're sending data to this IP address, signal message data is very small. If I'm like, yo, what's up? Here's an emoji, da da da. I just sell kilobytes. But if I'm sending much larger pieces, then I know that you're sending files. It's harder to discern images versus like videos versus large text files, but you can get some basic understanding because you control the pipe and you can see the draw on the pipe. Okay, hope that makes sense. So this is, let me stop that share, and so that's basically like what they're doing. So what can you do when you're using Signal to avoid that, right? Because like obviously that's across the board, doesn't matter what you're on. The first thing you can do is you can turn on sealed sender, which I think there might be like a sealed sender signal. I could have sworn there was like a video on this. Okay. Oh. Okay, here we go. So let's talk about this. Let me share this article with you. Oh. This is some real happy-go-lucky drummer bass. It's not angry at all. So that's good because we're happy. We're happy that we're encrypting. We're not angry. Now, in addition to end-to-end encryption that protects every Signal message, the Signal service is designed to minimize the data that's retained about Signal users. By design, it does not store a record of your contacts, social graph, conversation list, location, user avatar, user profile, group memberships, group ties. Does not store anything. It doesn't store your group avatars. And we've been exploring techniques to further reduce the amount of information that is accessible to the service. And the latest beta release, this is because it came out in beta back then, changes designed to move Signal incrementally closer to the goal of hiding another piece of data, metadata. And so it says here, when you start a traditional piece of physical mail, this is a weird analogy, so I don't really feel like it works, but when you send a traditional piece of physical mail, the outside of the package indicates the address of both the sender and the recipient. So if I write a letter and I'm sending a letter to grandma, it'll be like, yo, this is Gemini Matt from CryptoHarlem, sending a message from Matt to grandma. Now, the basic components of our Signal is the same. The service can't see into the message, but the user information is written on the outside. And so while the service always needs to know where a message should be delivered, you shouldn't need to know who the sender is. And it would be better if the service could not know who the sender is, just knew they need to bring it to a person, right? So this thing talks about TLS encryption, authenticating in a handshake, and it talks about these sender certificates, these delivery tokens. The article is loading a little weird. And it says, on the opposite end of the spectrum, users who want to live on the edge can enable an optional setting that allows them to receive incoming sealed sender messages from non-contacts and people with whom they haven't shared their profile or delivery token. This comes at the increased risk of abuse, but allows for every incoming message to be sent with sealed sender without requiring a normal message traffic to first discover a profile key. Because normally the way it works is you know a user's profile key, you get the delivery token from that, and it asks, hey, seal sender message to this person, And they have this video. Where is this video? Where they try to illustrate some of this, and I'll show you some more illustrations. Okay. The from is peeled off. So and it's hidden with the actual contents of the message. So all the server needs to know is where to send the message to, and when the person opens it, they get the message and that it's from Bob, and get the little heart. Okay. And there was like another version of this somewhere, but I don't know where it is. Okay. So if you go into your signal settings, if you go into your signal settings, and I only have this lab device here, so I don't actually have my, I only have an Android, I don't have an iPhone, you know what I'm saying? iPhone is powered off on the table. So I'm just gonna walk you through, but it's basically the same, you know? At least the two have completely different feature sets, but this thing will be under privacy. And under privacy and signal, you'll see that you have this well, you have a screen lock feature, which is always nice, which means like you can't open signal without you know, putting in a code or whatever. Android people, you can control how long your signal stays active for. Under advanced, there's a sealed sender section, okay? And it says show status icon of sealed. Show an icon in message details when they were delivered using sealed sender. And then it says allow from anyone, which is enable sealed sender for incoming messages from non-contacts and people who you've not shared your profile, you know? And then there's a if you're not connected to Signal, there's a censorship circumvention option that you can turn on. And we can quickly touch on that before we wrap. I don't know if I really want to get into this in such a short period of time. I will just say that Signal has this option where you can configure a proxy, you know? It's under data and storage in the Android version. You go to settings, data and storage, and on the very bottom it'll say use proxy, and you can use a proxy, and that's designed to use your own Signal proxy to carry your messages. And there is a proxy server. Let me just put this in the chat. Signal proxy chat. And then also let me set up the proxy server for Signal. So again, one thing is under advanced, under your privacy settings. The other one's under data and storage. And there's an article on how to run your own Signal proxy, right? And how to set it up. And they have a step-by-step, and it's pretty simple. And then when someone needs to connect to Signal using a proxy, basically they're routing their traffic around the normal, and it'll change where it looks, and then it won't be detected through the way that I was talking about before. So we show you one article is how to set up your Signal client to jump on a proxy. You'll need to know the address of the proxy. And the other one is how to set up your own proxy for other people's signals. So you could use a VPN, you could use a proxy, and you could turn on Still Sender, and it'll help avoid some of the tracking of some of the, again, it's not reading the messages, it's not reading the pictures, but some of the metadata that could be collected, okay? Okay, cool. And let me just okay, well that's it for now. I'm going to end us with a reading of a poem, if I can find it. I will do my best, and then we'll just end the stream. Here we go. It's
What to my people?
One second. Okay,
What?
here we go. So this is David Diggs reading "What to My People" is the 4th of July. Okay, and it's inspired by Frederick Douglass's historic speech, "What to the Slave" is the 4th of July, which definitely recommend you check out this Frederick Douglass, "What to the Slave" is the 4th of July. It's a very powerful piece of American history. See if I can find that. Yeah, it's on Wikipedia. Do they have the actual poem though? Let's see if I can find it for you. Yeah. let me share the Wikipedia link, because this oration is, here we go. So in the chat, we're just going to drop this one. This is the Wikipedia link to Frederick Douglass's What to the Slave is the 4th of July, which obviously is about emancipation, freedom, and hypocrisy. And then I will show you this video, which is David Diggs' What to My People is the 4th of July. And then I'll see you later, okay? So one of the first things I want to do is stop our music, because that would just bleed into the video. Well, have a good day, everyone. Stay free. Use your encrypted messaging tools. Encrypt, secure, make it happen. This is Gemini Matt, Crypto Harlem. I'll see you in the Discord. That's discord.com/invite/CryptoHarlem, or scroll to the bottom of CryptoHarlem.com. Click on the Discord video game controller icon. Or I'll see you Saturday at 1. Peace.
To my people is the 4th of July. My people who are failed every day by every country, sleepless in the long night, terrorized by fireworks, we who have cried salt baths for our kin. Look at all we have borne for you: arms, armistice, the sweetest fruits, flesh of children, hidden away from the ugly summer of their own blood. We are on the front lines. Help me, tell me, what do we tell the children of your 4th of July? What is death to a daughter? What is river to a sea? Where is the country where my people are safe? Ancestors, set the table, send dream mares in high supply, too heavy, too spent, too hot to cook. No promise beyond the sparkly, simple bombs. Keep your holiday, your hunger, the blood in your teeth. Police parade down streets, proud descendants of the slave patrol, a theater of denial, a propaganda pageant, and we are on the front lines. All summer my uncle can't sleep, and he was born free, and he ain't never been. We deserve a break. We deserve to laugh, talk shit, and scream. Every day I'm waiting for rain. Some indication that this land I'm set to die on will grow good enough to deserve me. Where is it, this country that deserves us? What do we name it? What is its 4th of July? How do I tell my children there is blue sky up there? Life threw a brick through my window of opportunity. How dare I tell my children there is free? This day should be quiet. Every head lowered into the pages of history. It was illegal for us to read, and then we read the laws. The laws were illegal. Turned horses into squad cars, hounds into warrants. What to us is your 4th of July? Halos and kinks of fire, a middle finger, an ugly foil, a rain, a joke, where we are the punchline. A lie. Until you make it otherwise.